procrastination style is arousal-based, which sounds, I know,
That sounds terrible.
I know. No, arousal-based as in I need high stakes.
Yeah.
So for me to work my best, I need high stakes.
Let's fight failure together. We can defeat 90.
Yeah, did I tell you my whole procrastination test?
No, but
I took the procrastination test on like one of my little brain apps, and it said my procrastination style is arousal-based, which sounds, I know,
that sounds terrible.
No, arousal-based as in I need high stakes.
Yeah.
So for me to work my best, I need high stakes, which is kind of what we were referencing earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So in college, I would like have a, 2,500 word essay due, start it like a day before, crush it, get an A, but pull an all-nighter and, lose hair. And it was like, basically if
self-inflicted pain.
Yeah, but it's like if the paper didn't seem challenging or the project didn't seem challenging, then I made it challenging by crushing my timeline and doing it in 3 days when we had 2 weeks.
I think it's interesting that you say we talk about the greatest roadblock. I think that for you.
Yeah, that
like
arousal-based procrastination
is just, I think in and of itself, the name should make you be like, well, maybe I need to make some changes in my life because
Yeah, well, and when you're doing that with all of my businesses involve other people. So that's not fair to them. Like I'm going to run the closing up, not that I would do this, but like run the closing up till the night before.
Brother.
They don't need the pressure.
You don't even know how many times I've covered your back on certain things because I'm like, this is what's going to happen. I'm just going to do it because I know this is what's going to happen. But the thing is,
so how do we increase the stakes without actually putting ourselves at risk? If that's what motivates you, because remember that's what I was saying before is why I set my zeros at different amounts so that I would get the feeling of being broke so that I would hustle. I need high stakes, but obviously I have a family and kids now. You don't want to go high stakes in business.
I mean, the first initial thought is you trick yourself, right? So you put voluntary so for instance, this is a tactic from amazing book called Atomic Habits. If you guys haven't read it, I'd highly recommend it. Where you put these certain triggers and boundaries in place where if you don't hit the certain thing, like you pay me $500.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have some kind of pain point if you don't hit this discipline. So it's when you're trying to beat bad habits. So if you effectively do this bad habit, then there's a thing.
I remember that example.
So meaning that on some of these things, maybe you need to put safeguards in place that basically create the same type of feeling of having the boundary like 3 days before it has to be done. So where there's a consequence that's not from the end customers, but it's something you've put in place that a confidant or family or wife or whatever is like, this is what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, just put money in my Roth. Can't get it till 59 now.
Or you, I don't know, if you could find some other ways of high stakes on that. So that would be my initial thought to you on that. But I think ultimately, and there's some things that are just hardwired.
Just getting away from it in general.
But there's some things that are hardwired as asking that deeper question of, because here's the deal. You don't value that task enough is what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to be doing it. So why are you doing it? Think about all the things.
It's not even that I don't value it because this is like daily mundane stuff. So it's just making it interesting. Like if you do the same thing 100 times.
Yeah, but
shipping's monotonous.
Oh yeah. But I started when I was doing that and helping out with that part.
Fun stuff like you build the boxes beforehand and stuff.
Well, and I'd watch movies.
Yeah, that could work. I'm watching Severance right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, everybody's been telling me to watch that. Anyways, we're not doing any promotions for Apple, okay? Anyways. But really, I think it's isolating the whole entire thing for you is when you do things freely, when you don't have to be pushed, and you're really productive, because there are those things that you just crush, right?
Passion projects don't have to be high stakes. Yeah, that's the only thing that I feel like actually free in.
But how do you turn your mundane stuff into passion projects? Or should you be outsourcing that?
Yeah.
And focusing on the things that actually, because ultimately it's one of those things like, you should be doing the things that make you the most money, that you're passionate about. So I think it's kind of all encompassing of why do you not want to do it? Should you be doing it? Can someone else be doing it? Or can you make it more interesting?
Yeah. Which that was the one thing that I did lose with shipping is seeing what was going out. Because like now, like buying wise, I have like a hands-on thing of seeing like what's selling and what's not.
Yeah.
So like in that sense, until shipping gets to the point, I think where I can't ship in like under 2 hours.
But even then, like you can get inventory reports that send you back stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
And that you could nerd out on that. Something you would actually think would be interesting to you. But ultimately, for you, you have to create the pain enough to where it's worth making the change on this.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've gotten so good, right, at being in the heat and the fire that it's just like, it is what it is. It may take something going seriously wrong before you're like, oh man, I need to change this.
Well, yeah, it did. That's what happened. But I'm thinking like at this point now, like what I've been doing lately is I'll set like a 2:00 appointment that I have to make.
That again, boundaries.
But then I'm using the 2:00 appointment.
But you know, so
you gotta just do what you gotta do sometimes.
That's what I'm saying. I think the first step is putting the safeguards in place to make it where you're not so much in pain. I think the secondary thing is, again, isolating like where you're really at, what's causing that.
Let's fight failure together. We can defeat 90.